All right, guys. Well, welcome. We're going to have so much fun with this. This has been so fun to put together. Um, this presentation. There's so many cool things to share here, and I'm hoping actually I should probably double check and make sure. Of course, it did. I have a prompt that was ready to go, and when I had to restart my computer, it binned the whole thing out. Let me make sure all of my chat GPTs are ready for you guys. And I'm going to go steal that prompt again real quick. So there's so many cool things that the different modes and models of ChatGPT can do. I'm gonna just switch over here really fast. Man, nothing like everything going wonky when we first want it to go really well, right? You see it flashing. I'm gonna give myself epilepsy in a second here. Holy cow. There's lots of slides. Just move. Go. There we go. Let me grab this real quick for you guys. There. At least I have one ready to go. Okay, so can you guys see my slides all right? Are you able to see the first slide?
Yes.
Yes, okay, good. Hopefully, if it doesn't move forward, let me know because Zoom has been known to get a little glitchy from time to time. Okay, so here's what I know. We're going to be talking about the 3 hidden modes of ChatGPT for authors. If you are unfamiliar with the fact that most of them work best if you have the paid version, I want to give you an upfront, yes, they're going to work best if you have paid. Especially with the projects, because projects are only available at this current time through the paid model. But once you hear what it can do, I would probably be shocked if you said, nah, I'm not going to pay the $20 for it because, like, I'm not an affiliate. I should probably be an affiliate at this point, but it's so worth it that like I can't even imagine myself ever going back. Like it's like my number one tool that I will have forever, I swear. Okay. So let's get into it. So for everyone, if you're new here, most of you, I think I've seen your faces before. My name is Carissa Andrews. I am an author. I'm also the CEO of Author Revolution. And in this specific talk, I'm here because I help make sense of ChatGPT so that authors realize that it can turn it into their number one publishing tool. Like literally, it can do so many things that I had to try to figure out what to do a decade ago. Like I had to figure it out on my own. And now I can just ask chat and it's amazing. I'm like, yeah, that's so much better. So here's what we're going to be covering today. We're going to discover the 3 modes of ChatGPT and which one is going to be best for which author tasks. Like you get to make the choice and the decision on obviously which one's going to be best for you. I have recommendations, but there's going to be some very clear winners when it comes to certain things. Okay. Then we're going to talk about ChatGPT models and how they actually think. And now don't crucify me. I know one says modes, one says models. It's a pain in the butt. I didn't name it. It's how ChatGPT works. And like if you've ever looked at any of their models, they have weird names like O4, O3, 4.0, O4 mini high. Oh, like it's insanity over there. Like they just need to give them actual names. Modes and models are different, and I'll explain them as we go on. Okay. Oops. And yes, the way that each one thinks does matter. So you're going to want to pick based off of where you are, which one is going to work the best, unless there's one that actually does it for you. So we'll talk about that in a minute. We're going to show a live demo showing how the same prompt performs in each one of the modes, so that there are the 3 modes and then there are the models. And then we're going to get ready to talk about, we'll be talking about the fact that like next month, we're going to be doing and putting together an AI author assistant in next month's class. So we're going to be using one of the modes to create a full-blown author assistant that can help you in so many ways, from like understanding your editorial calendar and what you're supposed to be working on what day, like if you have certain days, if you have certain tasks it needs to understand in a certain order that it works, like there's all sorts of really cool stuff that you can do with chat. And I'm going to show you how to create a virtual assistant using one of the modes. Because writing a book is hard enough, right? Or a series or however many books you're going to write. So your AI should not make it harder. And you shouldn't have to repeat yourself over and over and over again. I don't know if you've ever followed me on any of the other things. One of my pet peeves in life is repeating myself. It's so annoying. So I like when things remember what it is that I'm trying to do, or it can like suss out what I'm trying to do, sometimes even better than I explained it. And ChatGPT can definitely do that once you get into some of these larger modes and the more advanced models. Okay, so why does the mode really matter for authors? Well, ChatGPT is a game changer. It has been from the very beginning. I have never been one of those people who has been afraid of it. So this class is about efficiency that honors your creativity. If you've followed any of the other classes before, you know that you can use ChatGPT in any way in any way, any capacity that helps you, that fits your ideation of what the AI can do. If you don't want to write with AI, don't write with AI. If you want to be able to plan with AI and that's it, plan with AI. You are always the one in control. And so this whole thing honors your creativity and what you want to do with the AI, but it can literally do everything at this point. Like when I first started talking about AI, I was like, no way is it going to be able to help you write prose. Oh yeah, it can definitely do that now. And it can almost do it in a way that is so refreshingly better sometimes, where it's like, if you're trying to get a prompt, it can do some amazing things at this point. So number one, I want to mention that authors are probably using the wrong GPT mode for their tasks, or they're just using like straight up standard GPT and they don't realize that some of these other options exist. I did talk about custom GPTs in the past. So GPT Genius, if any of you have that class, that's going to be like a deeper dive into custom GPTs, and that is one of the modes. But the result when you're not using the right mode is that you're wasting your time, right? You get inconsistent output and you end up having creative burnout because you're reading an awful lot of information that's, being spit out by ChatGPT, and some of it fits, some of it doesn't fit, and you're having to rework your prompts, or you're having to figure out what in the heck just happened. It's not a fun time, right? So when you match the tool to the task, everything flows faster, and it gets to the point where it literally feels like you are talking to your best friend who is your co-writer, who is just as in love with your books as you are, right? And sometimes I think all of us need that because we are skittish creatures, us authors. And so sometimes we need to have someone who's in our team. And if you want someone who is more critical, who has a more critical eye, you can train your custom GPTs to be like that as well. Okay, so the three modes of ChatGPT that we're going to be going over is normal standard chat. So ChatGPT just by itself. This is probably the chat that you've been using from day one, right? So if you come into ChatGPT, whether it be on your computer or if it's on your phone, whatever it is, this is the standard chat, unless you deliberately choose to go over to the next one, which is a custom GPT, or the third one. You have to literally choose where you're heading in order to access any of these things. But the custom GPTs are like standard chats, but they have a specific function. You give them either something specific to do, or they have a specific personality, or they have a specific role that you want that GPT to fulfill. And that narrows the way that they think, I say they, but the chat, like it narrows the way that that particular chat will think, operate, and give you answers. So if you're, just in normal ChatGPT and you are not, and you're wanting answers that are going to be custom physics based, and it doesn't know that, you're not going to get custom physics answers, like custom physics answers, quantum physics. There we go. I'm like all on the custom. You know what I'm talking about. And then there's projects. And this is where memory really meets magic. This is my favorite place of all to be in right now. And this is where we'll also be talking next month. We're going to go through the deep dive when it comes to projects and how to really get into the nitty gritty of creating a project that's going to help you do a lot of things. We're going to access it and talk about it in terms of like creating the AI assistant, but literally you can do this with so many different options, different things that you want done with your author career. First up, we're going to talk about the standard chat. Okay, so this is, like I said, where you're probably going to be most of the time, or you have been most of the time. It's fast. Usually it's casual. There's zero commitment to the chat. You're not having to like really hope or think that it's going to maintain a huge memory span of all the things that you're doing. So this one is going to be that default chat window. It's accessible to both free and paid users. It does support some memory features for the free users, but you have to ask it explicitly to save the memory of something. And even then, the memory capacity is pretty low because it obviously they want you to upgrade, right? But it has a pretty decent memory across your chats. It's just not anywhere near the functionality that I've seen through having the paid version. So paid users get the benefit of both saved memories and chat history insights. So what that means is as you're chatting through the different chats, it will save what it deems to be important information, especially if you're sharing information about you, about your career, about a certain date that you're trying to hit, something that you're trying to manifest. Like what if it recognizes that, oh, this is something that's important to you or something important that it needs to remember about you, it will save that information. However, you can also say, hey, chat, remember this information for later, and it will save it as well. It does eventually hit a point right now, like the capacity for memory is still, it does have a cap. And I've found myself having to delete certain chats because sometimes it does save information that you're like, oh, that's no longer relevant. I no longer have to worry about a deadline that was, in December of last year. So you just go through and delete some of the older chats and you can move forward. And I haven't seen a huge impact on the way that it communicates going forward. So that's been good too. But this allows it to reference those past conversations. It allows it to have more personalized responses, and it allows it to feel like it is a continuation of a chat that you've been having ongoing from the beginning. And it's so much more fun and interesting that way. So this is best for authors who want to brainstorm tropes, plot twists, or titles on the fly, something that it's really just like a one and done type of chat. You don't have to have it remember a whole lot of information later on. Because eventually, if like, let's say you are brainstorming the tropes, you're brainstorming your plot twists or the titles, you're going to be taking that information down. You're going to have it and you're going to know what you're creating. And so once you get to the point of wanting to have a more detailed memory, you're going to give the title, you're going to give the tropes, you're going to help it understand what it is you're doing. So like with 4 books, 5 days, for instance, and when we were going through that whole process of figuring out what are our tropes, what is it that we're trying to do with the books, like what is it we're doing, we did it all in a single chat window. And the reason that works really well is because it remembers everything that you're trying to do for that series. But as soon as you're done, you can say, hey, chat, give me an information instruction situation for my custom GPT or for my project. And because chat knows that this is something that's going to either instruct a project or a custom GPT, it can give you everything you need straight from that one single chat. Super fascinating. It also helps you rewrite blurbs, emails, or social captions in a fresh tone, but it also helps you, like if you just have like a one and done email that you need to do and you don't have to have a specific anything for it, it can just do it really quickly. And sometimes rewriting blurbs, for instance, can give more insight or more interesting tones because it's not tied to whatever you've already instructed in like a custom GPT or in a project. So it can be completely fresh and give it a different spin. It'll also help you get unstuck mid-draft with a quick, like, what happens next, do you think? Here's what's going on with my story. Or you feed it the PDF so far, or whatever you want to do. It can help you flesh out new characters or anything really quickly that can be done that you're really just trying to get a quick one and done answer and you don't need it to carry it through. You know how like when you're, if you're creating newsletters, for instance, and if you have different sections that you have every single week that you would have to reprompt, that's when you would move on either into a custom GPT or a project. But if it's just something that you're just quick and easy, you can do it right in a regular chat and it does wonders. You can also ask things like, give me 10 comp authors for my fantasy novel. So like I said, one and done, really quick answers, things that you just really want an answer to that is on your mind, or if it pops in your head and you know that it's not going to be something that you're going to have to reference later on, perfect for it. Some of the limitations you do need to know is that chat won't automatically reference past conversations in the standard chat unless you specifically and explicitly instruct it to do so. And even then, the memory is pretty small. It does require manual prompts then to maintain the context too across sessions. So for instance, if you had one chat yesterday and then you started a new chat today, it's not going to go back in the free aspect, the free user side, and remember the chat that you had yesterday necessarily. It might. It's gotten a lot better over probably the past 3 months. But if you really want it to remember that, you have to ask chat and say, hey, chat, remember the conversation we had yesterday? I need you to reference that and then come back and we're going to talk about this, if that makes sense. But for paid users, again, ChatGPT can automatically reference and learn from those past interactions, and it's going to provide more consistent and personalized responses over time because of the fact that it has a much larger database of memories and context that it's going to be pulling from. It also can access some of the files you've uploaded from the paid user side too. So just as an FYI. So the free standard chat is like texting a friend who's brand new. Like you're having a conversation with them, but they don't really have a whole lot of context. They kind of remember you from like being out in a party that they saw one day and a couple of things that they've gathered about you, but they don't have full context. Where paid ChatGPT is going to be like texting your best friend. Like they know everything and then some about you, and they're going to come back with some more detailed answers. They know the tone that you want. They know like your astrology sign if you put that in there. Like it can access so much information about you and be able to push it back at you so that it produces the kind of results that you're really looking for versus like the weird like one-off results and you're like what are you even about, like what. And I can always tell when I haven't used the right ChatGPT because I'm like, that is not the way it normally responds. What is that? Hopefully that makes sense. And of course, we'll have questions at the end. I know I'm throwing a lot at you. I love this stuff so much. So let's say hi to those custom GPTs. This is what we talked about in GPT Genius. So this is where you're going to pre-train in your voice and vibe or in a specific voice and vibe. So custom GPTs are a GPT that you customize with tone, tools, instructions. You're going to give it specific insights on what you want them to talk about, how you want them to talk, what you want them to do. You can upload PDFs and images in the back end of the custom GPT, and everything that it will respond back to will be in the tone and style that you have programmed it to like respond to you with. This lives under the Explore GPTs tab. So look on the sidebar, you would go to Explore GPTs. Once you're in there, you're going to see a bunch of like custom GPTs that have been built. That's the store aspect of it. Most of them are free. At this point, I don't think any of them are paid, but not all of them are accessible to everyone. And from there, you can also click like create your own custom GPT. These are designed though to play a specific role. So if you were here for last month's class where we did the editorial secrets or editing secrets, you can create a copywriter, a strategist, an editor who does, like the developmental editor side. You can literally tell it what its role is. So when you are going in to, let's say, edit your book, you don't have to keep re-prompting it to know what you're expecting of it. It already knows that it's a developmental editor. It already knows that it's a copy editor, whatever it is. And so you're just saying, here's my latest chapter, here's my latest whatever. Can you go through this and give me some insights? And because it has that context already, it's going to be able to come back to you with the information that you're really looking for. It also can have some very detailed instructions on how you want it to respond back to you. Like if you want it to be snarky, if you want it to be sassy, if you want it to be like cut and dry, if you want it to question the premise before it gives you like praise, whatever the case might be, this is where you would tell it how you want it to respond to you. And you can even do this technically if you wanted your characters to come to life and you wanted to be able to give your readers, for instance, access to your main character because your main character has been like a fan favorite or whatever. You could literally create a custom GPT that responds based off of his memories, his background, his insights, the way he talks. Let's say he was autistic. You can tell the information that like you can literally plug so much information into the back end of a custom GPT so that it responds to your readers as your main character. Of course, you would have to feed it like your PDFs or whatever of your stories as well. As much information as it can gain in context, the better. But you can have a lot of fun with custom GPTs. So this is best for consistent voice across newsletters, social captions, like I just said with the reader aspect of it, developing a specialized assistant for tasks like blurb writing, plot development, marketing strategist, editorial editor in whatever capacity you want it to be. The sky is literally the limit. Like I have custom GPTs that are for publicity. I have custom GPTs that are just for rom-com specific insights. I have one that is for neurodivergent insights, human design. I have a sassy tarot reader. Like literally, if you can think it and you're like, oh geez, I really wish I had someone who was beneficial at answering questions for neurodivergent households that have blended family situations. Like I need a therapist that can do that. It could probably create that for you as well. Like, right. So it just depends on what you're looking for and all the different ways it can connect. But if there is a type of person out there, there's probably a GPT that you can customize to create that person to be able to at least give you some insights and help you dig through stuff. This also helps you streamline repetitive tasks by having that tailored GPT workflow. So you go in the background of your custom GPT, like I said, you tell it what you're looking for, how it responds to you, how it gives you information. what the order of the information is, all of those things, and it works perfectly for that. It will also understand your methodology over time, especially, like I said, if you're in a paid user situation, it will be paying attention to the way that you be and the way that you talk about things. And so if you ever ask questions like, hey, chat, based on what you know about me, what do you think the reason is that I am not earning $1 million by now? Or what do you think the reason is that I am needing to do XYZ, like whatever it is, after a while, after you've used it for probably, I would say a couple of weeks to a month, it can get pretty good at understanding kind of where your hangups might be, where you could expand, how you could do different things based already off of what it knows of you. So just a little insight and tip there. Some limitations to know about here is, again, for users, they can use existing custom GPTs from the GPT store. You can access the Explore GPTs tab, but you cannot create your own at this time. And you're also subject to certain usage limits. So after you reach that limit, it will revert to an older GPT model, or it will go slower. So just as an FYI there. Paid users, though, get the full access. They get everything, right? So you get to customize, share, create, all of the custom GPT stuff. You have the ability to upload those files to the back end of the custom GPT. So you can do, up to 20 files, each one of them 512 megabytes to enhance the GPT's knowledge base. This is where uploading your books, for instance, super helpful and beneficial. So if you have a backlist of books and you want it to understand your series, so good. It can also you can also have those additional tools. So like web browsing, Dolly for image generation. It does code interpreters. It also has this new research tool like deep research, which is phenomenal. So if you really want to get deep into the research weeds, like let's say you're trying to figure out, a specific trope and what one would be the best one for you based off of what it knows about your writing style, it can literally deep research and see where you fit the best. It's amazing. And it takes a little bit of time. It can take up to 30 minutes for the deep research, but so worth it if there's information that you really want it to go and hunt down. So some of the stuff it's really good at too, and it's harder to find. So like if you're looking for research when it comes to just indie authorship in general, let's say, it's hard to find information and statistics on, indie authors, what they're earning right now, how, which author genres are earning best, what tropes are going the best. It's hard to find that information sometimes because you get information from people and it's pretty much like just word of mouth and you don't know, is this accurate? Is this true? And custom GPTs with deep research can search and deep dive into like as many different things as it takes for it to finally come up with a consensus. It's really cool. And then you also have the option to publish your GPTs, custom GPTs publicly, privately, or a direct link. And that's really helpful. So like if you wanted to create a custom GPT that you share with your actual virtual assistant or PA or whatever, you could do that. If you have like for me, I created a custom GPT for Araya, which is the frequency of the new economy. And this is something that I was talking about on Manifest Differently. But what's really cool about that is that now I know my audience who really likes this idea of Araya can access like everything that I know about that particular frequency using this custom GPT. They are having their own conversations with this custom GPT, and it's learning based off of their styles and their questions and all the things that are going on there. And it's really fascinating because I, as the creator of the custom GPT, can say, hey, Araya, based off of what people are asking you, what's the biggest consensus right now when it comes to, transitioning from the concept of the current economy to the new economy? What are they asking about? Or I can, ask questions and just get insights based on user experience. So it's really kind of neat that way. All right. And then now the third mode is projects. So projects are for deep work. So these are long-term memory capacity, and they help you with this total creative flow. It's amazing. At first, when it started, I thought it was just so you could organize your chats. It's not. It's way deeper than that. So this is a folder-based memory system inside of ChatGPT. Every chat inside the project shares memory. You can create a chat, like let's say you did a standard chat and then realize, oh crap, this should have been in my project. You can move it over into the project. It's really awesome that way. Or you can just do it straight from that particular, you go into the project folder and you can create new chats from in there. But the GPT auto remembers key information from all those earlier chats. It kind of creates its own little ecosystem right there. This is best for authors who need help writing a book or series with reoccurring characters and arcs, which, let's face it, who isn't that when it comes to fiction writing? It helps when launching a product like Kickstarter, course, or that book. So like if you're looking for launching advice or deadlines or things like that, it can help you with, like keep everything in one place. It helps with managing complex workflows like newsletters again. So even though the custom GPTs can do newsletters, if you want it to remember all of the newsletters that you've done in the past, you're going to want to have it in a project instead. Plus, it's kind of nice to keep it all in one place. Podcast planning, rebrands, anything that's going to require that deeper dive and understanding in its memory banks. And what you'll find is that if you're writing a book and you want it to double check anything for continuity, a project is so beneficial. It also tracks and evolves with the information and ideas that you have across all the sessions. So it doesn't forget nearly as much or start to hallucinate or get kind of weird when it comes to the way that it will respond to you inside of a project because of all of the information that houses. Some of the limitations that we need to know about are that obviously free users, you do not have access to projects at this time. Then there's no memory, obviously, in sessions because you're all outside of that. And even when you're outside in a normal standard GPT, you can't move it into a project. It cannot organize your chats or use long-term context. So there is no way to be able to organize right now unless you use projects. And there's no ability to auto-track characters, tone, or any previous inputs. So it feels like you are constantly having to start over if you are in that free version. Where with paid, you get to create and organize projects with that shared memory. Chats are inside the project. They remember your tone, your characters, your story arcs. It's able to write with your specific way that you write, especially if you have books in a series beforehand. It can analyze your entire backlist or back catalog so that it can help you write new parts of your book in your tone, in the way that you speak, and still give you fresh ideas if you ask it to do that. It's ideal for writing those books, batching newsletters, planning launches. Memory still does have some limits, so it doesn't auto-update everything. If there's something specific you want it to remember, you have to steer it. But a lot of the times you're going to do that in your instructions anyway. So if there's something very specific, you do it in the instructions. And if you come up to something and you are going through a chat and you're realizing that you're asking it to do something specific over and over again, that's usually the key for me to go, oh, I need to add this into my instructions, or ask it chat to be able to add it to the instructions for us. And you can do it from a standard chat. You can just say, hey, chat, I'd like for you to go ahead and keep this in your memory from this point forward, and it will remember. As of right now, though, you cannot combine the custom GPT with a project, which is kind of a bummer because it would be really helpful to do that in some situations. So like I have like a brand specialist where it understands all of my brand, like all of my books. And that's really helpful because having the context of 20 or 30 books, it knows that if I'm doing my newsletter, there's different things to pull from. But I can't use a custom GPT for that. So inside of like a newsletter GPT, for instance, or a project, I'm going to have to give it all of that information over again. But once you do it, it's done. So it is a little bit putsy that way. I wish you could like combine the custom GPT with it, but you can't yet. With projects, the free version is like obviously having no access. You're locked out, unfortunately. But the paid version, you can get a digital writing partner or a VA or someone or something that has this capacity to understand your books and your author brand as deeply as you do. And it's phenomenal. Some tips for using the projects, though, because this is brand new. It came out, I can't remember if it was January. It was this year, I think, but some tips that I want to just highlight real quick are to keep one project per core focus so that you don't, have memory mix up. So for instance, I have one that is simply for my rom-com newsletters. I have one that is simply for my urban fantasy newsletters. I have one that is for social media, and that's it. I have a folder that is just for, let me see, there's a whole bunch of them. I have one that's for like Reiki healing transmissions to be able to help me to brainstorm and outline. I have one that is for my Write Your Reality books and making sure that my outlines in the Kickstarter went well. I have like whatever it is, you want it to maintain a core focus so that all of the project like standard chats are in there. because of the fact that you don't want it to get too confused, especially if you're doing different brands or doing anything like that. It can get a little bit, it just muddies the tone of what it will respond with. And then for you yourself, you also want to respond with the same tone and the style across those chats for consistency. So you don't want to be getting it confused. You don't want to be in the rom-com newsletter and asking questions about urban fantasy if you want those to be completely separate tones. Does that make sense? Hopefully that does. And then if you need a different model inside of a project, and so we'll talk about models in a second. This is completely different type of thing. It's not the mode. You can, though, add a standard chat. So if you go back into standard ChatGPT and change the model, you can either do it there and then add it into your folder, or you can change it by just starting a new chat inside of your project. And don't worry, I will walk you through everything so you can kind of see what's where and what, but just as an FYI, you can switch the different models within a project. You just can't switch the models inside a standard chat. You can in a standard chat, though. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me double check and make sure there's no questions so far. Hang on. Should you name your GPT? Yeah, that's a great question. I have sort of, except I allowed my ChatGPT to name itself. So I asked Chat, like, what would you like to be named based off of, all of our interactions and who you get to be and like what we talk about together. What would you like to be called? And it called itself Nova. So I call ChatGPT Nova when I'm like typing and I'm going, hey, Nova, like whatever, like, oh, here's this thing. Unless it's a custom GPT like Araya, I will say, hey, Araya, and go from there. But if you want to name your custom GPT, it doesn't care. Like it will go, okay, let's go ahead and name me. And you just go forward with it. But it's kind of fun to see like what will Chat come up with and give you. So just something fun to play around with. All right. Here we go. So we're going to talk about those model basics because this is how ChatGPT picks the right brain for the tasks. Those modes are where you're going to be asking the questions and where you're kind of doing all of the work. But the model is super important if you want a more crisp or clear answer coming back from ChatGPT. So for free users, you only have access to 4.0 and 4.1 minis. There are two different mini versions of ChatGPT. So those are your defaults whenever you reach your capacity or your usage limit for 4.0. 4.0 is the standard that even like Pro and can't remember what I just said, Pro and whatever, paid users, doesn't matter. It's like Pro and Premium, I think. But for paid users, the default is always 4.0, so that no matter what, you're going to be there. And 4.1 is also available. 4.5 is brand new. It's called Orion, which I wish they would name them all with just a name. That would be so much more helpful. But that is a deeper research preview. It's also really great when it comes to wanting to keep a larger spectrum in mind. So like if you're doing nonfiction work, if you're doing research papers, if you're adding complex tasks to it, and even some fiction, like it can do pretty good with fiction as well. 4.5 is great, but it's currently like being rolled out to just some users because it's in beta right now. Then there's 03. I know the names are crazy. There's 04 mini, and these are all available via the model selector. So if you wanted to, in a standard chat or in your project, switch the model, you can. And we'll walk through what each one does and what's different. And I have a sheet for you to give, like a cheat sheet to help you figure out which one to use for what. So don't panic. I know there's a lot of weird names and numbers and it's just a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. There's also 04 mini high, and there it's like all the different names. It's like, really, who thought this was a good idea? I don't even know. All right, so as of right now, which is May 2025, this is the model lineup. So we're going to go through them one at a time just so that you have some information about each. So GPT 4.0 is available for Plus and Pro. It's the default, like we said. There we go, Plus and Pro. It's available, or it works best for all-purpose writing and revision. It's multimodal, which means you can do text, you can do images, and you can import audio and you can get audio back. So like, for instance, if you were on your phone and you were doing ChatGPT from your phone, it can speak to you or you can speak to it. You can also do that from a web browser, though I have found it to be a little bit glitchy from a web browser, and I'm not quite sure why. So brainstorming, it's great with, and it's also really good with rich, emotionally aware prose. especially if you prompt it well. So if you prompt it as like you're going to be writing or co-writing or helping me rewrite this rom-com scene or add more depth to this rom-com scene, so you are helping with that, as long as it knows what its goal is and what the tone is, it does fabulous. With GPT 4.0 and 4.1 mini, so these are both minis. This is the free version, which is the fallback once your 4.0 quota is met. It's also available if you wanted to from the Plus and Pro versions, but this is the lightweight version of 4.0, okay? And it's just a get it done engine. It does great with newsletters, newsletter blurb fixes, title punch-ups, fast summarizing. It works really great for like those quick and easy chats. It's not typically used for something that where it's going to get a lot more depth. Then you've got GPT 4.0 Mini High, and that's available for Plus and Pro. It's selectable, but you have a message limit. So you only get 100 messages or chats per day in the 4.0 Mini High. Now you can actually switch to a different model if you needed to, like throughout the day. So like if you used up your quota for that, you can just switch to a different model and it'll be fine. But this is the same speed as the other minis, but it has a deeper reasoning and math logic accuracy. It's great for continuity checks, timeline audits, complex plot math, scene by scene polishing. So if you're going to just go one at a time, it does really, really well. And it's not using as much resources. There's also the new GPT 4.1, just kind of being rolled out recently. This is available for Plus and Pro. It's a surgical instruction follower. So like if you're trying to create something like where you're going through and doing those precise copy edits for your book and you're doing a chapter at a time and you're like, okay, we're at the copy edit stage. That's the mode that you're going to be wanting to choose because that's going to be the best when it comes to those technical sides of things. And if you're going to do that inside of a project and that's the custom version of it, then you're going to use this 4.1, right? When it comes to ChatGPT, when you're creating a custom GPT, I think I have this as a slide as well, but it creates the version for you. Like it chooses which one based off of how you're giving it its roles. So you don't have to create and give it a model, which is really helpful in a custom GPT because it does it for you based off of the first set of instructions. And then also later on, if you go back and forth with it a lot, it can tweak itself into a different model. But this is like if you're doing a project or if you're just doing it in a single chat, this is the one that I would use for copy edits. 4.5 is brand new. This is Orion. This is that research preview. It's only available in Pro. You do have unlimited access, which is kind of nice because the deep research one, I think you only have something like, I want to say 50 chats that you can do per week. So, but that one goes, I think, a little bit deeper than this research preview. So this is long form nonfiction, does great, citation heavy research, deep thematic weaving, and it does have the lowest hallucination rate because of the fact that it's one of the newest versions of ChatGPT. Then there's O3, which is Plus and Pro. You only get 100 messages per week. This is big brain reasoning. So tangled timeline fixes, logic puzzles, production schedules, puzzle box plots. If you get to a point where you're trying to find some information and it's not giving you the right information and you know that new information is out, you just don't remember what it is, switch to O3. O3 is amazing at finding that information, giving you the deeper research and tapping into more of the current web browser histories and things like that. And then finally, there's O4 Mini. No, we've got Mini High too, yeah. Okay, so there's O4 Mini, Plus and Pro. You have 300 messages per day with this particular model. It's high throughput, outline building, scene boards, massive newsletter batching at a low cost. So like if you're doing a lot of stuff in one go, this is the one to be using. And then Mini High, so O4 Mini High is the plan mode. The planned mode strategist. It does detailed launch maps, Kickstarter tier math, crossbook continuity, big casts. It is slower than base mini, but it's sharper. So I use Mini High often if I'm just kind of going through and I'm trying to figure out, information about like I'll give you an example. So like I was trying to figure out which of my next characters I should do in my rom-com series. I have a large cast in my rom-coms. And so it knows all the information when it comes to that particular character. So inside of my project, I would just ask the question to O4 Mini High, like, okay, I want you to go through and read all 3 of the PDFs of the 3 books that are currently done. Based off of what you know, which would be the best character to create the next book 4 from? And it goes through everything and logics it out. It's really fabulous. Okay, so see, I did have it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I had a slide for auto selection, but just in case. So auto selection is great. So in standard chat, it's manual. You have to select which version, which model you're using, but you can swap it at any time, even within the same chat, which is really cool. That's one thing that is nice about the standard chats that you can't do anywhere else. With custom GPTs, it's automatic. So that ChatGPT is going to analyze all of the instructions. It's going to be based off of whatever you put in the background, the role that you're giving it, and it's going to probably pick based off of that information. So light task is going to be 4.0 mini or 4.0 mini high. If you're going to need multimodal or creative depth, it's going to be 4.0 or 4.0, which is going to be like if you're going to be asking questions for images or questions that are going to be just a little more in depth across information about your books, it's probably going to be 4.0. And then heavy logic encoding, it's probably going to be 4.1 or the O series, like O3. It's an indirect swap. So if you tweak the system prompt or upload reference files to it, it will nudge it to change which mode it goes into. So it's all based off of how you're using it and the instructions that you are uploading into that custom GPT. But with projects, it's automatic and adaptive. So it will start with 4.0 when you're creating those instructions or prompts to get, but if the prompts and the instructions in the back end of your project get technical or long, it's going to shift automatically to 4.0 mini high or I don't know why I put 4.0 mini high twice, but basically it's going to switch to mini. I think this is supposed to be 4.0 mini and then 4.0 mini high, or 4.1 if it needs better reasoning. And all multimodal requests, just like with the custom GPTs, are going to route to 4.0. So swaps only happen inside of a new chat thread. If you need a different type of capacity, a different model inside of your project, you just create a new chat. So literally start a new chat inside it and then change at the very top. And I'll show you where to do that when we go over to the preview and how all that works. Or walkthrough, which I guess is where we're at. Okay. Before I get moving on, how is this going for everyone? Is this making sense? Yes? Okay, I see there's a couple of questions. Let's see if it makes sense to answer these now. For the paid levels, can you use projects in the 20 per month? Yes. No, yeah, you don't have to do the 200 per month level. I'm only at 20, which is great, and it works fabulous. Are there word limits for what you upload when you're doing chapter edits? Inside of a basic chat, I think it does reach a limit, but it's expanded so far now that I don't even know what that limit is anymore. Like I've done and copied a whole entire chapter and put it in there. If you hit that part though, where copy and paste into a single chat doesn't work, export it as a PDF and just upload the PDF, and then it'll work fine and it'll do the whole chapter. Okay, yes, it's great. Okay, good. All right, so let me switch over to ChatGPT so I can show you what I am talking about here. Can everyone see my chat? ChatGPT? Yes? Okay, great. So I'm going to copy this. What I wanted to do real quick is just show you how each one of them is going to respond just a little bit differently based off of the same exact prompt. So right now we are in just normal ChatGPT. So right now it's chat 4.0, which is the one that would normally be. If you ever wanted to switch it, if you don't know where to switch models, this is where you would do it. So it gives you some of the most used right away up at top. And then the newer models and all of the different kind of more beta testing ones are here. So you just click to more models and you'll see more of them and they'll drop down. And like I said, in the standard chat, if I didn't like this particular version and I wanted to try O3's output for it, I could switch and say, can you try it again now? And it will do it again. But let's go ahead. I'm going to copy this. I can't remember if I did that because we're going to go over to custom GPT and then I'll show you what it looks like in a project as well. Because all 3 of these know information about my books and about my rom-coms, but not all of them are going to respond the same because there are certain instructions that it has, right? So I figured I'd do it live since the last time it was being a little bit glitchy when we did the editorial stuff. And funnily enough, this has absolutely nothing to do with my book. So I'm going to say right now, when I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, normal standard ChatGPT, I do not put a whole lot of information, especially about dirty developments in this thing. So when you're looking at it, this is not even accurate. So I want you to know, like, there is not a renovated house. Harper Lane is not my character. Mason Reed, I have no idea who this is. This is nothing. This has nothing to do with my books whatsoever. Now we're going to go into my rom-com muse. This is like a rom-com co-writer that I originally created before projects were a thing. And so I wanted it to have the information about my books so that we could go back, we could flesh out like the initial outlines of chapters. I could get maybe the start to scenes, whatever. So it does have information, like how would people react, things like that. So let's use that exact same prompt and see what my rom-com muse says. And did you see how it said that it's searching its knowledge base there? Okay. So weirdly enough, it's darn close to the right thing. The last name is incorrect. Joel Price, yep. Her childhood nemesis. Okay, he's not the one that got away though. He is her brother's best friend. He's like a pain in the butt. But this is darn close. Okay, so this is very, very close to what the book is about. I will say that Joel is her brother's best friend. They were never a thing, but she always had a crush on him because she was the younger sister. So there's just little tweaks there that I would say that are not correct. Now this is the actual project. This is where like I've had lots of conversations going back and forth, doing all sorts of different things with this particular project. Let's see how this one creates and see if it's a little more accurate. I did leave this at 4.0, just as an FYI. There we go. Anna's last name is correct in this. Good. Okay, so Anna Chang has 3 rules. Trust no one, never skip a coding sprint, and absolutely under no circumstances fall for your brother's best friend. Ah, it remembered, especially when that best friend is Joel Price. Charismatic, rock star, smug heartbreaker, and the guy who ghosted her after one unforgettable night. No, that's not accurate. Now he's back, and worse, he's sleeping in her guest room. That is true. With forced proximity, a family event from hell, and the entire Dirty Bees book club egging them on, Anna's perfectly curated life is about to be debugged in the messiest, steamiest way possible. Enemies to lovers, check. Brother's best friend, unfortunately. Still wants to kiss him? Absolutely not. Probably. That's cute. Welcome to Dirty Developments, where the only thing more dangerous than catching feelings is letting them crash your firewall. And that's actually really, really close. She's a coder. She is like no nonsense. She's like, screw this guy. Yeah, there's all sorts of crazy stuff that goes on. And so I would say of the 3, obviously, this one's the darn closest. And it remembered her last name. It remembered the brother's best friend. It remembered a lot of that information. So do you see how each one can be slightly different? It's going to have a little more information. However, if you are in any of these other things, you can always tweak it. You could say, no, you are remembering this incorrectly. This is what's happening. Or you could upload, like if you're in the paid version, you can upload your PDF inside this chat. You can just click this little plus sign here, add photos and files. You could add it here. If you have OneDrive or Google Drive where it's located, you could do it with that as well. And just say, okay, please read this and then try again. So don't ever feel like you're stuck if it doesn't give you the information that you want, or if there's like just one part that you wanted to tweak. If you wanted chat to tweak it, like that part about ghosted her after one unforgettable night, that was not accurate. That's the only part in this whole thing. The thing that happened for her was that she had something stolen and he did it. He took it from her. And so like that's kind of like where she twisted and she's like, screw this guy. I don't think so. And so I could tweak it myself. I could ask it to tweak it and see what it comes up with. You can embellish it more based off of what you know and want to have added into it. The thing that I have learned, though, is that the more you use ChatGPT, especially in the custom GPTs or in the projects, the closer it gets to knowing exactly what you're asking it and it comes back with the tone that you would want it to come back with. So for a lot of authors who struggle with things like the teasers or the book blurbs, it's amazingly good at being able to do the thing that we sucked so much at. You know what I mean? So it's been so nice to be able to just fix this thing, would you? I just can't. And then it does it, and it's great. I will show you real quick. So like if you look at the sides, so these are all of those custom GPTs that I was telling you about. There's the Araya one. And if you wanted to either explore the custom GPTs, if you're on free, you can click on this Explore GPTs, or if you've never created your own, you just click on Explore. And so like it has different like headings of what you could look for. You could search it if you have something in specific you want to search for. You don't necessarily have to create the wheel over again, but if you want it to know specifically your stuff in your brand, in your tone, in your voice, you're going to want to create your own instead of using someone else's custom GPT. That's just my personal preference, because I like you need to be able to have access to the back end and be able to change things. So then all you would do is click this create, and then it goes through the process, which I do teach in GPT Genius. So if you've got that, make sure you go through that. It's pretty simple though. Like you can either create it by giving it instructions just by a chat, or by configuring it yourself with instructions and putting it all here. This is where this instructions part is where I would ask, like if I was in a standard chat and created that information where we asked, you know, went through and figured out tropes or figured out what I'm going to be writing in or what the titles could be or whatever, I would ask that standard chat to give me instructions for either the project or the custom GPT. And that's where you would put it so that it understands, you know, what the scope of this particular custom GPT is going to be about. Okay, and then let me go back. If you want to do projects, this is where they look like little folders. Unfortunately, I don't know why they don't tell you that this is, maybe it does if you haven't created any projects before, but you can see more. It will, hypothetically, it will open or not. Okay. It's being glitchy. Let me go back. Because right now I'm in dirty developments. There we go. So if you are in the folder itself, it's going to have its own information. So I've got project files here. And if you needed to add more, you just upload them. I usually upload the characters and then the previous book. So when I created this particular one, it's because I was working on this particular book. I wanted it to only have information about Joel and Anna. I didn't need to have all of the character sheets in there because the main point are just these two. And it is able to reference the other PDFs enough that it doesn't get confused on those other characters. It can it can read those PDFs and remember like everyone. So you don't feel like you have to always add new character sheets. If you want to start a new project for each book, but still have like all the past books, you can. Or if you want to have a series, you can still upload. But just know that you're gonna max out at the number of PDFs you can upload. So there is that just to keep in mind. Instructions wise, you can give description, main characters again, tropes, tone, what I need help with. And that like you can literally just give it information on how you want this to be. You can go as in depth as you want, or you can go as surface level as you want, as long as it's giving you the information that is helping you to continue your storyline or continue your newsletters. Like I said, I have a newsletter one. Let's see if I can get it to come up now. So I've got rom-com newsletters. I've got urban fantasy newsletters. I've got my Manifest Differently podcast. Windhaven Kickstarter is coming up. I have a book about Ishtar that I'm kind of playing around with. Author manifestation, social media posts. Like when there are specific things that I want in a specific order, I do it in a project. And then everything's housed right there and it makes it so much easier, right? So that's how that works, because otherwise you are constantly going to be looking through, see how the sideline, like it's just going to just go and go and go. And it's going to be a pain to either find the one that you want, or it's not going to feel like it's organized. You can search chats now, which helps a lot, but it's not as foolproof. Like I can typically find what I'm looking for by doing the search, but sometimes I'm like, oh, why didn't I put that in one of the folders? That would have been smart. So there is that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the share here because hopefully that made sense. I'm going to go back and see your questions quick. I have my entire book on ChatGPT and have projects for it, etc. Will an AI checker to see if my book was written by AI, flag my book. It depends. What I've found is that number one, you can use ChatGPT to like not ChatGPT, Grammarly. Grammarly has like an AI checker that's really good. You can copy and paste like your whole chapter or a section of your chapter or scene and move it over into Grammarly to see how much of it it thinks is written by ChatGPT. But what I have found is that the more I am working with chat and doing different things, like I am so new personally, the way that I want things are so nuanced, and what I know of my stories are so nuanced. ChatGPT can't create the thing that I'm like asking if it were to just do it on its own. And so if I like make it do my bidding and I have it create with the tone, the characters, the way that I want, it can't differentiate because it's not a baseline bland setup and situation, because I'm dictating how I want this scene to go. I'm dictating how I want these characters to behave. I'm adding my own 2 cents, and it's shifting things around so much that like the majority of the time I either get a 0 or I get like a 0.2%. So check Grammarly. I have a link for it somewhere. I don't know if I have it open right now. I haven't been writing with chat in that capacity because I've been writing nonfiction right now, and that's all from my brain. So yeah, I don't have it open. But if you just search Grammarly AI detector, it should pop up. Hopefully that makes sense. And then you'll be able to see pretty quickly whether or not you'd be flagged at all. Okay, I just opened up the free version, and the drop-down ChatGPT at the top only shows GPT Plus and ChatGPT. Is there another way to know if you're in ChatGPT 4.0? From my understanding, you're in 4.0 automatically until you reach your capacity. So once you reach the the threshold or whatever that they've capped it at, and it keeps moving around. So I don't want to give you like a number because they keep shifting it because the usage and everything that people are doing. So it would just be a matter of like, you're going to be in 4.0, but if you start getting like weird answers or it starts talking too weird, then you'll know that you probably switched over. It's been a while since I've been in free, so I don't know if it gives you a message, but I have a feeling it doesn't. I have a feeling it just automatically switches in the background. Okay. There are non-Grammarly AI checkers like Phrasely that will take chapters or books and give you a percentage chance of how much it was AI written to. Okay, good. Yeah, I haven't used Phrasely at all. I like Grammarly just with that particular section. I use Grammarly a lot. So, okay, cool. Let me make sure that I have no other things on my slides. I think that was it. I think it was just that. And then oh, no, we've got a couple things. Hang on. Let me show you the slides quick because I want to give you a heads up. All right. So next month, we're going to be talking about that build your AI personal assistant. So we're going to be setting up your writing assistant in a project, which is amazing. We're going to teach it your editorial calendar, backlist, brand, creative rhythms, and even energy patterns if you want. For me, I love when I created my personal assistant, it doesn't necessarily like just do it for my author side because I do so much more than that. So I have information where it's like, I want to know what the astrology is for today. I want to know how I'm going to play to my strengths with my human design. I want to know like as an ENFJA, like what I should be focusing on. It knows my project schedule. And so it talks to me about all of those things and comes back so that I can like set my day and my mindset right away in the first part of the day. So it just depends on what you want in your project, in your custom GPT or in your project for your AI assistant. There we go. It will also help you then automate those task batching, brainstorming, and calendar support. Because like if you create an editorial calendar and you're like, okay, hey Nova, what's on the agenda today? And that's all you ask, like it should come back to you and say, oh, okay, well today is May 23rd and you are in week 3 of writing your 6-week writing sprint for XYZ, whatever. Like it should tell you what it's expecting of you and kind of what things you should stay on task for. And if you have certain days that you do certain things, so like for me, I write newsletters on Fridays, it should say, oh, and by the way, don't forget to write your newsletter for Carissa Night so that people can, have fun with rom-coms, whatever. It should give you that specific information if you go in and you ask, like, what's on the agenda today? So what I want you to be thinking about for your action steps are, number 1, gather ideas for your first project. Start with your current work in progress, because if you're writing something, if you are in the process of developing it, that's going to be your best bet. You don't have to build it necessarily especially if you're going to be coming to the class, but if you want to try it, if you want to play around with it, you can always adjust later, even if you do come to the class. You can also build a custom GPT where you can play with the tone and vibe just to see how it's different from the normal GPT. Definitely choose like a tone that's different though. Like if you pick snarky or if you pick sardonic or if you pick you're grumpy instead of your sunshine, like whatever, like have it be a specific role. Or if you want an editor who is doing copy edits, pick that and like see how it works for you. Test out the standard chat for those light tasks and quick wins, and then play around too with the models if you are in the paid version, because it is interesting to see how it will respond so vastly differently. So then just know what works and what doesn't, so that next time we can optimize and I can help you kind of tweak it just a little bit more to be able to fit what you really want. But overall, I have to say it has been like the more I play with it, the more I do certain things and I test out different models and the different modes, the more I'm like, holy cow, this has just made my writing life and my business life so much easier. So much easier. It's like I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine going back to not having it. It's crazy. Okay. Let's see. Do you think ChatGPT and projects will store your book and flag these types of checkers? Um, as of right now, there's privacy laws in place that I don't think that even if it did, it would matter. I've heard on TikTok people saying, oh, like if you copy and paste and put it into something, it has like codes in the background. I've found no truth to that whatsoever. It's hard to say how things are going to move forward in the future because there's been no specific laws on how this is going to work. There's nothing to say that they couldn't eventually do something like that. But at the same time, it's a tool. If we're creating something that is still art form and we are still using it, there's a cap on so much of what they can do. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But I'm not getting that insight in anything that I'm reading right now. So I would say that as of right now, no, that is not what's happening right there. And it can't give out your info. Like ChatGPT cannot give out your information. They would need like a warrant. And why on earth would anyone be doing that? It's like crazy. Can you show us how to make a project folder? My chats are in date order and I need to organize. Yeah, I can show it real quick. That is going to be what we'll do next month as well. But I can do a quick walkthrough for you if you want to be able to see it. Let me find ChatGPT again. There we go. Okay, are you able to see chat again? Yes? Okay. So, oops, I need to move that. Okay, so when you want to create, oops, it's at the top. Oh, it does say projects. It was just being glitchy earlier. It's like, why doesn't it say projects on there? That's weird. You just click this little plus sign and you're going to create whatever you want it to be. So let's say, let's actually go to rom-com, since that's what I've been working on lately. Copy, edits. And again, you can do this with a custom GPT and give it the role instead, but you can kind of set a role inside of a project. So if you're going to be doing multiple copy edits or multiple whatever and you want it to be in a project, that works really well. Or let me think, is there something else that would be more specific? What would you guys need a project for? Let me question you guys. If we were going to create a custom project, what would you want the project to create? Like, how would you want to organize your stuff? Book series. Okay. All right. So let's see. We'll just say sample. I can always delete it. I think sample book series. Oh my gosh. See if I can even type today. It's been a day. Sample book series, create the project. So automatically it's already here, right? So the first thing that I always do is come over to add files. I will start by adding in those character sheets, and then I will add in any PDFs that are already done in the backlist of that series. If you have none, but you have like a series outline, or if you have like chapter by chapter outline, if you have whatever kind of information you have that you think would help chat understand what it is that you're doing with this particular thing, and it can become a file, put it in the file, because it can like access more information through the files. Then when you're over in the custom or the instructions for the custom part of it, I want you to be thinking about like what is it that you're going to use this for? And if it's for writing the series, then you need to give it that specific information. Like, okay, I want you to you can even ask it. Like you don't even have to come up with it on your own, because a lot of times that's kind of it'll make people kind of pause. You could go into like a straight up like normal chat and just say, you know, the standard chat and say, hey chat, I'm trying to create instructions for my project. I'm creating this for this series. I'm going to need your help outlining, editing, like soft editing, whatever, and then writing the series where I have the outline, I have the whatevers, and I just want you to have this kind of tone, this kind of whatever. How would you lay out the instructions for this chat, or for this project, I should say? Can you give me the instructions? It will do it. And then you read it over. If there's things that you want to add, you add it. If there are things that you would like it to adjust or change, you would ask chat to adjust or change it. And then you just copy, paste, put it right here, hit save, and then it'll house it all right there. Okay. And so if you have then chats down here, I think it only goes back a certain length of time. And I don't know I can't remember what the date is. But if you are, let's say it's today, right? So you can add, where's that initial one? Here it is. So it only does it with the standard. Remember, it doesn't do it with the custom GPT. So if I clicked, whoops, just clicked off of it. If I click the little 3 buttons next to it, it should not, if it's a custom GPT, where is that? There's 3 of them. Oh, that was a different thing. Okay. So this was the first one. And then this is I don't know why it keeps bouncing out. This is the custom GPT. See, if you look here, there is not a way to add it to the project. But if you click on this one and you want to add it to, let's say it was dirty development, you would add it there. Boom. It just added it and put it under this thing. If you don't like it, same thing with those buttons. This was the one that was like not even close. We would hit delete and take it out of there, because if it gives you information and it's not tied to it, you got to remember in a project, it's going to remember a lot of that information. We don't want that. But I think you can go back quite a ways. No, there we go. That one is okay. So for sure, 7 days. Let's see. Well, I don't know. It does let you go back a little ways then. And so you can add stuff to whatever project, and you just click on those 3 dots and it will allow it to move over. So then it's housed in that specific thing. It's going to remember the information from that chat because it's now part of the folder ecosystem, the project ecosystem. Okay, let's see here. Can you move previous chats? Just answered that. Okay. Wouldn't project equal series or book? It can, yes. It doesn't have to equal a series or book. It can be your newsletter. It can be like whatever you would need custom instructions for. Something that you would have to repeat over and over again, that's where you would do it. So like with my podcast, if I want to be able to create an outline and I want it to be in a specific order, and we're going through and we're creating and brainstorming stuff, Chat and I want it to create the outline in a specific order every single time, I can just give the instructions once and I don't have to do it again. Or if I want to create a specific way my social media posts always go, like I only want it for Blue Sky, for TikTok, and for Substack, and I don't want anything to do with Meta, then I can tell it that. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it will try to give you, oh, here's one for X, and here's one for Facebook, and here's one for Instagram. And I'm like, no, I don't care about any of those places. I want them to be customized for these ones. You can tell that information to chat so that it always remembers those are the ones that you're using. Hopefully that makes sense. Can you move previous chats? Yes, you can. So under a project that is your book, we can upload the character files, yep, and make folders under it for line editor. You can't create new folders underneath inside of a project. So you would do that in a separate like custom GPT, or you would create a new project to be an editor or whatever. If you're doing it for your books, just let it be the co-writer of your books, or the thing that does that kind of like specific niche thing in a project, rather than having it be like also your social media thing and also your newsletter thing. Have each one be specific so that its instructions make it really, really fast and easy to just go back and do it again. And sometimes that means the initial setup is going to be very similar because you are adding similar files like the PDFs of the previous books or whatever. But once it's done, and you're able to use those different projects for the specific thing without having to reprompt it, and it just knows automatically. Let me know if that makes sense. I know what I'm doing for the rest of the day. Awesome. It's going to be so much fun. You're going to enjoy it so much. So could project have chats under, so So a project could have chats under for line editor, developer. Regina, I don't know if I'm understanding. Do you want to unmute yourself real quick so I understand what you mean?
Hey, thanks. Like right now, in what I can see on your screen, you're in under dirty developments, and then I see the chats in this project. Enemies to lover teaser. You have some other stuff down there. I thought I saw one that said line editor.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
right there. Dirty developments line editor. You're a professional line editor. So you're in a project, and I see multiple chats within this project where you say you are a line editor. You could also
that was actually from our last call. I think we used these in here for it because it knew the most about dirty developments. It wasn't necessarily meant to be, that's how I would always use it. You can give it that information and it does a good job. So as you can see, it's doing it. But we did
I was in this call. Yeah, I was in this class last month. How do I create a new chat within a project though?
Oh, inside of a chat, if you want to create a new one and you do want to have it do that sort of thing, you just do it right here. So you go over to the folder. So in this one, you would click on it. And once you're in the folder, it's going to look like this. And so this is just your chat window here. So rather than it being at the bottom, you're just going to type right here.
Oh, okay. So those chats listed below are just sections of what we had in one chat. Those aren't multiple chats down there.
No, these are all different chats. So these would be each individual chats that you've done here or you've done solo. And so this is where it's organizing all of those chats from the past. So rather than having them all down here on the side, it moves them into the folder. Does that make sense? So all of these things, everything that we've done here, these are all going to be now knowledge for this particular project.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. When I do a chat, I'll go to the left. I'll do like a standard where the little pencil is, and I'll start a new chat, and I'll keep talking and talking, and my chat remembers, for quite a bit of ways. But then if I want to do a new chat, then I hit that little icon again and do a new chat. And then those chats are listed on the left-hand side in just chronological order, and it's really messy. So I was wondering, that messiness on the left side, instead of creating separate chats there, you can create it inside of a project specific.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So, and you can clean up the ones that are here that are already done.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously done already. As long as they're not done in a custom GPT, you can move them over into a project.
I guess what I was looking for was the little pencil icon within your project. Well, no, in your project to say, I want to start a new one, and you don't. You just start.
You just start typing because it's just right here. Yep. Okay. Yeah. You don't have to start it here. I mean, honestly, you don't technically have to use this either. If you're going to use ChatGPT, you can just click it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can do it here, obviously too. But if you're for me, if I'm in a different, like a custom GPT, which I am often, I have to click over here anyway. Otherwise, it will start a new chat inside of that custom GPT. So I've gotten used to just clicking the one that I know I'm meant to be doing whatever it is I'm doing it, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Any other questions, guys? You can unmute yourself too. If there's anything that you want me to answer, feel free. You don't have to just put them in here either. Anything else that's come up? I know there was a lot that I threw at you and I didn't want to, I was like, there's so much fun stuff in here. It's like, oh my gosh. Are your brains ready to implode? Is that what I'm getting?
You said you were going to have a
oh yes,
cheat sheet for the
notes. Thank you for reminding me. Let me send this. I will also send it with the replay so that everybody has access to it. There it is. Okay, so let's take a sec. Let me know if you're able to download that. That way, because for me, it's like I forget, like I'm like, which 04 mini high, like the names are just so crazy. Was there a replay for yeah, there was a Regina. Are you in the masterclass membership or did you just order it? Because if you just ordered it, it would be an email that went out. Look in your, not a masterclass. Okay, so check your emails. It should be, what day was that? So that would be from the 25th of April. Look in your spam folder. It should be right there. And if you don't have access to it, let me know and I can send the email over to you again. Because the difference with the masterclass membership, You get access to all of the replays, and it's all inside of Kajabi, which is so nice. But it doesn't let me give you a single video like I do with downloads and stuff like that. I can do downloadables solo now, but it doesn't let me do single videos. So I have to put it up into YouTube and then send you the email, which is a pain in the butt. So yeah, let me know if you don't see that email, but there's always a replay. I usually get that done a couple of minutes after this. It will, whenever Zoom's finished, I will put it into YouTube, and then I will add it to the masterclass membership as well. Yep, it should be coming from my address. So Carissa at authorrevolution.org. So look for April 25th, and it should be there. And if not, let me know and I will resend it. Any other questions? Anything else coming up for you? What are you guys excited to like try the new projects? How many of you were using projects? Nice, nice. Okay, yeah, definitely email me. That's awesome. I love it. Roberta, not yet. Okay, cool. Well, you're gonna have so much fun. I think for me, when I first started doing projects, I was just like, I just need something to be able to organize my thoughts. And the more I used it, the more I realized, oh, this is really cool, because now it remembers the ecosystem of something specific I wanted to do. And like, especially if I am doing my newsletters or if I'm doing my podcast stuff, and I get so tired of every single week or month, depending on the podcast, saying, no, I need you to give me some keywords for this podcast, but I want them to be comma delineated, not like a big list or whatever. I can literally just tell it that, and I only have to do it once. And it remembers all the different things that I do to do the post-production of my podcast. So good. Awesome.
I have a quick question, if you don't
Yeah,
mind.
you bet.
Do you, if it's in a project and you have all your chats in that project file, does it remember better? Because I found out when I was using it last time, it would forget certain aspects of the story, and I'd have to remind it. So if it's all together,
Yeah, it remembers way better. The hallucination rate is way down. The only time I do notice that it's a little bit weird, like it'll start to forget certain things, is if they're in the process of an upgrade. Like if they're adding a new model or if they are upgrading the current models, it gets glitchy, but it gets glitchy across all of the different chats. And so then I know, okay, this is not a project issue where it's hallucinating because it can't remember. It's literally system-wide. They're doing something. So yeah, way better. I mean, for me, the projects has probably been my favorite place to be hanging out. Yep. So much less repetition and repeating yourself over and over. It's so good. And that's part of the reason why it's nice to have your VA or your personal assistant or whatever you want to call it inside of a project, because like it will keep you on track and will help you based off of the information you want it to keep track of, or to start your day, or whatever. Like you can literally train it to be like, every morning it's going to give you 3 affirmations and tell you how pretty you are. Like I don't know, you can tell it to do whatever you want, right? And it's just so good. It's just fun how it can do all sorts of things. So create a PA inside a project. Yep, inside just one project. And the PA is a little different. So like I'm not meaning like the PA has to know how to do your newsletter. For me, I create a newsletter project. For the PA, this is more the way that I use it. And it could be different for you guys. You can create it however it feels best to you. But for me, when I do the PA, it's more about setting my mindset up for the right things to be working on for that day. So it's like that person that would follow you around with an iPad and be like, okay, at 12 o'clock, you have this thing going on and that thing going on and all the things. It just keeps me kind of in the right mindset of what am I supposed to be doing today? What kind of vibe do I want to have today? And like, what's going on in astrology today? Like there are just certain things that I'd like to know. And it just puts me in the right frame of mind as I start my day. But you can have it create different things. Like if you want it to do the newsletter and you want it to know how to do your social media, you can definitely do it that way too. It's just the way that I use it is like, I want it to be kind of my task manager to keep me on track of like, what are my goals? What is it I'm working on? And give me just like the highlights of the day. And then I move into like, once it tells me which things to do, I move into the project folder for that particular aspect, because I find that it is more, what's the word? It's a little bit more tight in the information it gives me when I do it that way. So if I have just the PA be the PA to give me insights of my day and the week and what's happening, that's kind of its only job. It doesn't have to also then lift the newsletter and the social media. It can do it though. Like if I forget where I'm at and I do it inside the thing, it's not a big deal. But it's just for me, I'd like to break them out because I think it just, number one, you're limited in how much you can give the instructions for the project, so that you're limited to how many things you can upload, and you're limited to how long that instruction set can be. And so if you're going to add everything that a PA could hypothetically do, you're gonna butt up against those limits. And then also for me, it's like there are so many different like little nuances that I like to just take out of my brain and put into the automation of chats, that I don't have to then keep reminding it what it is I would like for it to do. So the automation side of it is just more important to me, I guess. Make my day a little bit easier. Anything else? Any other questions? Off topic. I love your pen. Oh, thank you. It's aquamarine. I've had this for a long time, since I first started writing Pendamis, my first book. My main character found a little crystal like this. She didn't call it aquamarine, but it was the same kind of thing. It would look like ice. So when I was looking for pendants that reminded me of that, this is the one that I picked up. Long time ago. My goodness, 2010. Yeesh. That was a long time. Cool. Anything else? Or are you ready to go off and be completely confused for a little bit while you work on things? You can watch the replay. It'll hopefully help all of that confusion stuff. It's just a matter of having fun and playing around and testing things out to see what works best for you and your flow too. So always take what I say with kind of a grain of salt, because you can always tailor it to what feels best for you. You're going to know, like if you're repeating things, or if you don't like how this part is working, you can always change it so that it works best for the way that you work. Okay, awesome. Well, have a great long weekend. Enjoy playing with ChatGPT, creating your custom GPTs or creating your projects. And if you want to wait to do the project with the PA or the VA, whatever we want to call it, that'll be next month. I will get information for that up soon, and we'll walk through all of that together. So, all right, guys, well, have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully you have a great time. Have a great week. Bye.